shot a little video for everybody, for us, and for the listeners. A quick little update the other day after the surgery. So that was really great to hear from Mike, and talked to him a couple times, and he's on the road to recovery. He's on the mend. I mean, it's a tough, it's a painful recovery. Like it's sore, puffy faced, feel like you were in a 15-round boxing match. So,
sitting face down on chairs.
Has to stay.
Stuff.
He has to keep his cannot hold his head up. Right. I think until like early next week. So so he, it's tough, and you can see in the video that he's definitely feeling it, but he's getting better every day, and we look forward to him being back on the air next week. If not early in the week, at some point next week. Mike will be back in the morning, which will be great. But Gabe hosted today, and between Gabe and Susie Moore and Paul Kurtman, morning show's been in good hands, and we all our best wishes always out to our buddy Mike Ferguson, and hope to get him back in the studio or back on the air at least next week.
Oh yeah, and we're praying for his eyesight too. To make sure that all, because the healing, we're not sure exactly how much eyesight he may come back with. So we're definitely praying for that.
And you won't know
until everything comes settles
down.
Even
when he's back on the air and basically recovered, he still has a longer period of time with an eye patch.
Yes.
So it's not until that eye patch comes off that you will know for sure, what's
going on,
extent of the damage, if there's any permanent stuff, or whatever.
And because it's us, though, there's going to be plenty of Pirate and Snake Plissken jokes to go around.
There has to be.
So it is what it is, and he understands that. Actually, he joins in. So when you hear about it, guys, we're not being mean to Mike. We're just trying to make the best of a messed up situation.
I've already started because he told me that part of the some of the details of the procedure that he was having done, and they did the procedure on both of his eyes, even though only one of them was the problem. The other one was more. So since they were doing it, they did both eyes. The other one as more of a preventative thing, so it doesn't happen. And part of the details, Katie, I want you to listen to this.
No, I don't want to listen.
I want you to listen to this. Part of what they did was they put silicone bands behind his eyeballs as some kind of support.
Yes.
So I have been telling Mike joking with Mike that he got silicone implants because he did.
That's true.
Because he did.
They just happen to be in his eyes.
They're in his eyes. Yes, he did.
People don't need to know that.
No. Feel free. To use.
Thank you.
Feel free to use that if you guys are busting each other's chops at some point.
That information will come in quite handy,
Love
sir.
You,
yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm not the one that got implants.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, silicone bands behind your eyes.
So gross.
Yep, like as a support structure.
Science is cool though.
Science is mad.
So cool, but
science is mad. But
I like to work with machines.
Yeah, right. Man, anything. My eyes make me crazy. All right, lots to talk about today. Plenty going on in the news. And, of course, it is Friday, so that means we will also get the weekend forecast from our friends over at Camo V Channel 4. I think Kristen Cornett is going to be joining us today at about 2:45. So we'll get the weekend forecast from Kristen. And then towards the end of the show, before we hand things over to the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show at 3:30, we'll also have a little Friday fun time for you. So we'll get to all of it. News and weather and fun all coming up. Let's go right now. The biggest headline of the day, obviously, is the affidavit has been released. The classified documents from the raid at Mar-a-Lago have now been released after the redaction, and nobody's happy.
Yeah.
Now, have you had a chance to actually read the affidavit itself, or are you just kind of reading some summaries?
Pieces of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I've read parts of it. So, one of the big headlines out of this is that in it reveals that the FBI claimed to have, quote, probable cause to believe that additional records containing classified information, including national defense information, would be found on the premises of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home beyond what he had previously turned over to the National Archives and Records Administration, according to the unsealed and heavily redacted affidavit. The affidavit was unsealed today and went on to say the government is conducting a criminal investigation. This is a piece of that of the document. Quote, the government was conducting a criminal investigation concerning the improper removal and storage of classified information in unauthorized spaces, as well as the unlawful concealment or removal of government records. So again, how vague? It's very vague. What is probable cause? This answers nothing.
Absolutely.
They're gonna have to release the affidavit, and then we're gonna get and that's going to give us the details of why they raided his home. And the answer is probable cause.
Because we had reasons.
Yeah.
We thought why did you do
there
this?
Was stuff in there.
Because reasons.
Yeah. So everybody, Republicans are crying out against, saying that for example, Republican Congressman Dan Bishop tweeted so much for transparency.
Yeah.
That's been, the big sort of point being made by Republicans. Donald Trump, obviously, he's going
he lit him up
after everybody. But what is probable cause? Like that is that every warrant? Well, something tells me you need more than that on a.
Well, you're supposed to
raid somebody's home.
You're supposed to establish the probable cause. Well, what made you think that this was the case? What made you think it was an unlawful removal? What made you think that unlawful removal was intentional? You know what I mean? Those are kind of the questions that need to be answered by these types of things. So, and of course, the whole thing is complicated by the fact that as the chief executive, as president, the concept of classified documentation and authorization to do all of these things is complicated by his constitutional powers. To be
able to declassify anything he wants,
be able to declassify anything he wants, and also to use executive privilege on information that he either produces or is privy to. So that's kind of what's at issue here. So you can't just say it would be a different story if it was someone within his administration who had this kind of affidavit against them, because the idea of unlawful removal of classified information becomes a bigger deal if you're not if you're not in a position to be able to classify or declassify information.
Right. And probable cause is not good enough to raid my home,
no,
or your home, and certainly not enough to set a historical precedent of raiding a former president's home. And so like that lack of details that was the information that we were supposed to get.
Yes.
We were supposed to get these reasons. And knowing what we know now, like I know more about like how declassification works.
Yeah.
And the exact process that the president uses to do that.
Or the inexact process, which happens to be so for when it comes to the president.
Or that it's normal for presidents to take a bunch of documents and information with them when they, I never really thought about like, what do they take with them when they leave?
Yeah.
And now knowing also that every president since Nixon has had negotiations and disputes with the National Archives about what is appropriate and not appropriate to take. So knowing all these things now, knowing that the president can declassify, that they say they have probable cause and they were looking for classified documents from a person who has the power to declassify anything in America.
Yeah.
And
there's no specified process by which to do that necessarily.
And this debate, this argument about like, well, you shouldn't have taken that with you, has been going on for 50 years between the National Archives and presidents, and no other presidents had their door kicked down. So
it still doesn't look good.
And I think it also just shows you how powerful the FBI truly is. Now we know that the White House quote unquote, didn't know anything about this.
Mhm.
And they weren't a part of any of this. But it also has just opened my eyes to understanding, and Dan Bongino has talked about this many times before, what the FBI is truly capable of, how much information they truly don't need to have. And in some situations, in some circumstances, when you're going after a pedophile or sex trafficking and things like that, more power to you. But you're going after the former president, and you're telling me that you have more of an authority to go after the former president based on nothing, at least nothing that we are privy to at this point, based on a hunch, based on a notion. You go after the former president, and that's the excuse that we have right now. Brett Baer said this, and I think it's so true. I feel like we're back at square one. We were supposed to have this affidavit. We were supposed to have this, the redactions that were made. We knew there was going to be giant blocks of black with the 38 pages that we got of documents. But really, the information was bringing us back to, it feels like 2 weeks ago when we first found out about the FBI raid. I don't feel like we're any closer to the reasoning and the substance. And you and I just said this, Gabe, off air. The substance of what this truly is, other than the fact of it being probable cause. And what scares me is that, will we ever get the substance? Is this as far as it's going to be able to go for the public eye? Or are we going to be able to eventually move step by step, inch by inch, closer and closer to the real reason why this happened?
This affidavit is the reason it happened. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
That document is, I mean, and it's in, there's still a lot of things redacted in there.
Yeah.
So maybe under the Sharpie is an answer or two. But it doesn't really seem like it. It seems like Gabe just said, we don't like him, and
we think he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy, and bad guys do bad things, and they have bad stuff. So we're gonna go find bad stuff.
We're gonna go find the bad stuff.
So this is as far as this goes.
There's no other document to, if you want reasons and answers to why the DOJ raided Mar-a-Lago, this document
was
is
as
where
close
those
as we're going to be able to
that's
get.
where those answers are.
Yeah.
I guess sorry.
It's basically their search warrant.
Because the process was supposed to be, we submit this document to the judge to say, hey, we want to go raid this house. Let's say it's a drug den, right?
Yeah.
We have a previous warrant on this guy for a wiretap. The wiretap indicates that he's storing his drugs at XYZ house. So, so we believe that, the current whereabouts of a massive amount of drugs and money and illegal guns is in this place. We are asking you, judge, to grant us the ability to go and violate that particular area's, its integrity, so that we can acquire this evidence against this person, because it's part of our criminal case that they are a drug dealer and a gun runner.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of how that's supposed to work. So all that's supposed to be in that affidavit, which they submit to the judge.
There's nothing else.
There's
no
case,
other documents. There's no other paperwork.
In this case, it's just like, well, we think the president has classified things. The former president has classified things, and we want to get the classified things. It's like, well, wait a minute. All former presidents, when they leave office, have classified things
that they have declassified.
So what's the special case for what? And well, and the other thing too is, can you make the definitive notion that it's classified if a former president who was capable of declassifying things at the time of the removal could easily have removed the classification? So there's so many unanswered questions. It's a circular logic thing right now.
I mean, here it is. The FBI said, the affidavit said that they had probable cause to believe that additional records containing classified information, including national defense information, would be found on the premises. That says nothing.
I guess.
What specifically
was it? But I guess my question is it's not needing more documents, because needing more documents would mean more redactions, which would mean more black blocks.
Right.
I guess my question was, is there any farther that this could go to unearth and reveal some of the redactions that we aren't able to see? Is there anyone else that could get that affidavit to say, hold up now, there is information that the public can be privy to, so let's unearth that and the public can see that, even though it was redacted originally with this affidavit.
I guess we could go through another round of review, essentially, right? I'm trying to remember.
I think that Trump's legal team is doing that exact thing, suing to get this information revealed and all of that.
So then it'll be another judge's call.
Is it possible that there's some ability to use a court case to force further redaction
or unredaction?
Unredaction,
Force, excuse me.
Redaction, retraction.
To redact the redaction. They're suing to redact the redaction. I guess that does that line exist? Is that a possibility? Maybe, but I mean,
I imagine it would.
When would we ever get that?
I imagine it would proceed similar to what the case that just went through would go. Is like, hey, we need to see more of this. You'd go back to I guess essentially the same judge, and that judge would rule whether or not more is needed in this case or can be done, or force a review.
This is the judge that gave the permission.
And here's the
same judge, and he's the judge that's ordering the redaction. It's all right. This one judge.
Yeah, and that's maybe part of the problem is that it does kind of have to be that judge because he saw the entirety of the original affidavit as the judge who granted the warrant.
Katie, to your point, the judge could have told the DOJ when he gave him the 1 week deadline to redact whatever the sensitive information that you need to have redacted, and then by Thursday of this week, you have to have it back to me. The judge at that point, when he got that, could have told the DOJ this is not enough,
right,
and sent it back
to
them and said, so it could have been done then.
Gotcha.
Uncovering that could have been done in this process.
Yeah,
but it wasn't, and the judge released it now in that condition. So that's pretty much what you get.
Wow.
And I'm trying to rack my brain to think of, okay, is it possible that underneath the redactions, if we saw an unredacted version of this affidavit, could there be some information that's currently blacked off that would mitigate what we do see and make it a bigger deal? So
I find it hard to believe.
I do find it hard to believe. I mean, I'm trying to even just think of the condition, even apart from the affidavit.
I think the document was vague intentionally. I think it was intentionally a vague warrant affidavit to raid his house because they don't have it. They can't say specifically to the point that we've been making the whole time is that they don't have the goods. They don't have anything specifically on him. They're convinced that he's done something, that if we just keep looking, if we just keep digging through his house and his computers and his phones, we'll find something. But they don't know what that is. They can't
manifest what they want.
They don't know what that specifically is. They're just so obsessed with finding something that they're just convinced that they will if they keep looking. But that's not how it works.
So
you can't say to me or you and say, I know you're up to no good, and that's enough to raid your house.
Yeah, they're trying to make it they're manifesting and trying to make it a reality.
Yeah,
but
it's
like
they went on a fishing expedition. Let's just call it what it is. They went on a fishing expedition. They were sure something was going to come up because their TDS had infected their brains so much that they believed, like we said earlier, he's a bad guy. Bad guys have bad things in their houses, so we're going to go find the bad things and show everybody how bad of a guy he is. But of course, he's one of the few high-profile politicians to actually lose net worth while in office, as opposed to every other politician who somehow magically can get money, $40 million, add $40 million to their bottom line within like a 4-year term, while being a public servant, making just above 6 figures, right? Yeah, it's like you can do that. I want to know what your stock tips are. Oh, wait a minute, actually. It would be illegal for me to have the same type of stock tips that Congress has, but it is what it is, isn't it?
All right. President Biden angered not just those on the right, but half of his own party with the student loan plan, the forgiveness plan, because it didn't go far enough. Now, if he hasn't separated his party enough, yesterday he told voters to not vote for certain Democrats.
Really?
I'll tell you that story when we get back.
Oh boy.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You say you're smart, she go for you. Your type of arrogance to hurt you. She's got you in her grasp. She's gonna take all your money.
The news and talk.
Understand why you would ask for a raid with a cooperating president.
That matters to St. Louis.
The world is on the verge of nuclear disaster.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Agers HVAC is the place to call if you have any issue with your HVAC system, air conditioner, furnace, whatever it may be. If it's repairs or replacement, doing right by the customer is the number one priority at Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. And that is why we trust them with our home. We trusted them with our old home. And Brian Agers and Agers team was the first people that I called to take a look at the system in our new home to make sure that it checked out. It did not. I think it was built in the 1800s. And so it was one of the first things that we addressed, and it's been fantastic. Agers has the mobile showroom. They are the only ones with that. It's proof to their dedication to customer service. If you are wanting to put a new system in your home, you don't go anywhere. The mobile showroom shows up at your house. It's nice enough to live in, and you go out and you get to see and operate and learn about all of the different options, all the different units that can go into your home. So you have that education, you have that knowledge, you have that complete understanding, so you can make the best decision for your home and your family and your budget. So again, whether it be repairs or replacement, nobody has you covered like Agers. Learn more about Agers at callagers.com. AGERS, callagers.com.
The Range St. Louis West is all about safety. That's why training is a critical part of what we do. No one wants to be in a situation where seconds count, but help is minutes away. But if that day comes, are you ready? No matter what your firearm experience level is, we have courses and instructors that can help. The Range St. Louis West is the area's premier training facility, shooting range, and all things firearms retail facility. Check us out online at therangestl.com or stop by and visit with our professional staff. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim Jones here on Friday. Chris, Katie, and I will unpack the Mar-a-Lago affidavit at 4:25 with Zach Smith. We'll review the economy at 5:25 with Dr. Aaron Hedlund.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in harmony. Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time, we're in harmony. Now if we all got together just to do what was right.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 119 and 94.1 News Talk STL. If you're watching on the cameras there during the break, you saw Tim Jones walk into the studio and hand the affidavit, the fully redacted affidavit, to one Gabe Pfeiffer. You can see it on the cameras now. Don't forget that you can, of course, listen to us every day here at 101.9 and 94.1. But you can also watch us on our cameras on Facebook and Rumble and YouTube. That is right. We are doing the YouTube thing again.
Special double secret YouTube.
Every show, just like we have podcasts, every show has a podcast. Of course, you can download the Colombo and Katie podcast and every other show at News Talk STL on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, whatever it is. You can subscribe to us. And now you can subscribe to each show on YouTube. And every day we will be streaming live on the cameras. So it'll be on Facebook and on Rumble and on YouTube. You just have to subscribe to the individual shows. So you can search Colombo and Katie on YouTube, and you can find us there every day. And we will be live streaming the show, and we'll be doing some other fun stuff, other fun videos on the YouTube channel as well. So we're back until we get suspended.
Until we're not.
Until we get suspended again.
Yes.
Joe Biden says not to vote for anyone who opposes assault weapons ban. And this has continued to divide his own party. The student loan plan angered many on the left, many Democrats, because it didn't go nearly far enough, in their opinion. So the president is very good at
messing everything up.
Yeah, making everybody on the right mad, and then making half the people on the left mad as well.
Makes you wonder why no one's wanting to endorse his 2024 run just yet.
President Biden said that Americans should not vote for any midterm candidate who does not support the assault weapons ban, after several Democrat representatives seeking re-election did vote against the ban in July. There's a handful of Democrats that voted against it, but there are 3 particular Democrats, Henry Cuellar down in Texas, Vicente Gonzalez down in Texas, and Representative Jared Golden in Maine, who are in highly contested races. And as we know, in today's atmosphere, every seat in the Senate and every seat in the House matters.
Yes.
And these are 3. So there's more than just these 3, but these 3 specifically are in like toss-up races this November. And they are Democrats that voted against the assault weapons ban and are reportedly fuming that the president just told their president, the leader of their party, just told the American people not to vote for them. Because he said, do not vote for anybody that voted against the assault weapons ban. So these Democrats are reportedly fuming that their president has just told the voters,
don't vote for him.
Don't vote for him.
Thank you, Mr. President.
This is moving, but this is a strategy, though, that is happening with the far left part of their party. We heard this whenever Roe versus Wade was overturned, and the very few slim margin that consider themselves pro-life Democrats were speaking up saying this is actually really great. We saw people from the very far left say, especially AOC on our Instagram Live, saying, if you think that you should exist in the Democratic Party, you think again, vote these people out. We need to have new people in. We should never have someone that's pro-life. They need to be pro-choice, and that's it. So this mantra, now I don't know if Biden is doing this to appease the far left in this instant, but it is part of their strategy right now, and I can't believe it. Instead of making their tent wider, which is absolutely what they need to do right now to win anything, they are closing in on a very small niche group of Democrats that are going to uplift a certain agenda that will appease a certain a faction of their party,
and alienating people that would otherwise agree with them. 8 or 9 out of 10 times would agree with them. They're being told that they're not welcome here.
Yeah,
exactly. Because you may agree with me on 9 out of 10 of these issues, but you didn't vote for the assault weapons ban, so I don't support you.
But what's strange about this is that we know that Joe ran being the great moderator and the great uniter. We know all of this.
And most transparent president of all time.
Most transparent. But he is contributing to, and you read this stat last week, Tony, about how moderate Democrats that are kind of leaning towards a more Republican-ish agenda or just centrist agenda, they're having a very popular, pretty quick uprising. Now, that's a small group too, but they're having a little bit more of a bump. They're the ones winning the seats. And Biden is contributing to this divide between the centrist moderates and the very far left. Now he is saying, okay, you have to pick a side. Which one are you going to pick? And not putting 2 and 2 together that the people winning the seats are the people that are the moderate centrists.
Yeah. Yeah, except in areas on the coast, like we saw the AOC back candidate win in New York yesterday.
That's true.
But you're right. I mean, I think the majority. I think if you're looking for a more widely accepted, majority accepted um, platform as the Democratic Party, I think it's been clear, as Katie just said, that voters are pushing away and walking back from the extreme progressive. It works in certain areas.
It does, yeah.
But it is not something that is. It was never something that was completely widely accepted, but it's not even as widely accepted as it was a year or two ago. And I think, Gabe, if anything, this story just continues to highlight that it is Joe Biden has put himself in a position and trying to be everything to everyone
on his side anyway.
On the left at least, yeah. That the Democrat Party, as it is, cannot function as a unit because they're too far apart. You can't. These two stories, this story, and the Student Forgiveness Act. I mean, I think it's a perfect example. He does this unprecedented loan forgiveness plan, giving away billions of dollars, and half of his party is still mad at him because it wasn't enough.
Yeah,
he can't unify the party.
He can't win.
They're too far apart.
Now, I think part of the problem is the nature of leftist thought is that they demand conformance.
Yeah,
and you saw it in some of the most extreme examples. Anywhere where a leftist government, communist socialist sort of government has taken over, they exert extreme control over all of society. And if you're not on the in group, you are we'll say 6 feet under very quickly, right? So quickly, everyone says, oh yes, of course, I've always supported the whatever the state says. Of course, yeah, we support the new thing. New thing is top of our list. What emoji do I need to put in my in my Twitter?
What pronoun do I need to use
exactly
in my bio?
Exactly. So the thing is, their tendency will always be to want to purge. They always want to have ideological purges. Now, that sentiment has usually been,
and they always need villains.
Now, that sentiment has always been kind of tempered because they knew they weren't completely in power yet, so they would always that's how they infiltrated liberal Democrat political systems, is that they say similar things to liberal Democrats, but because they're leftists, their agenda is elsewhere. It's a bit more extreme. So the liberals just kind of hey, we're arm in arm. We have the same ideas about freedom, right? It's like, except when the leftist says freedom, he doesn't really mean freedom.
No.
So now they're feeling themselves. They think they've got control of everything, and in large part they have a large influence base, but they're still a numerical minority in America, where it's still a representative democracy, right? So they're overreaching at this point, essentially. So they're trying to do their normal purge sort of actions. You shall not pass. You only the good guys are on this side, and everybody on that side is a bad guy. And so the idea being that you're going to, well, I want to be one of the good guys, so I'm just going to sit here and conform. Except they're still very much a political minority, an ideological minority, even in this country. So what they're doing is they're forcing the moderate and even the slightly right-leaning, right of center Democrats into at least, if not onto the right, at least into political exile.
Yep. And they're hateful bullies.
And they're
on
hateful
top
bullies.
Of it,
yes,
all, which is supposed to be everything they stand against. But they have to hate. They have to have something, someone, some movement to hate, and they have to bully you and make you the thing that they hate if you disagree with them.
Oh yeah,
and that's what bullies do. They make you they by force make you go along with whatever they want you to go along with, and that's what they do.
Leftist language is by default projection and double speak.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
I saw this story today, Katie, and it reminded me because we've been talking about these type of stories, and it just happened again. And there's sort of two things that I want to highlight in this story. Did you see? There's another video of a broad daylight, unprovoked attack, sucker punch in New York City.
No.
That just got released today.
Another one?
I didn't see.
Another one. New York City police are seeking a suspect with a. Here's the other part of the story that we'll get to in a second. New York City police are seeking a suspect with a dark complexion caught on video, sucker punching a 74-year-old woman in Midtown Manhattan, causing her to fall to the ground. The assault happened in broad daylight on Wednesday, just blocks away from Rockefeller Center, according to the New York Police Department. Unprovoked. You can see the video. It's out there. This younger woman who just walks up to this old lady and just decks her. And just decks her.
Why?
So these are Katie and I have been talking about these types of stories because there's been several
so many
in the news.
many.
Wild.
But Gabe, I wanted to can we no longer use the color of our skins as a descriptive term? Because that's the other part of this is that
dark complexion.
That the police department puts out the information to the public and says that they are seeking a suspect with a dark complexion.
See, when I hear dark,
you watch the video.
When I hear dark complexion,
it's a black lady.
I think like Dan Bongino.
Yeah.
Italian. I would call Dan Bongino a dark complected man.
Yes.
I'm a black man.
Right.
So if somebody who looked like me is the suspect, I would expect to hear a black male or in this case, a black female, right? That's what I would expect to hear. Now, if you are, we'll say mixed, like my friend John Michael.
Yeah.
Who could on a certain day, he could look really, really light. He could look like a Dan Bongino complexion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that. I'll give you, dark complexion. Okay. Yeah. I'll go with that. But if somebody's as dark as I am, you call them black.
I don't get it. Like are we really to the point where if I hand Katie, a piece of paper and I'm like, could you please go hand that to Gabe? And there's three guys standing on the hall.
And she doesn't know who I am.
Yeah. And Katie says, sure, which one's Gabe? And I say, oh, he's the black guy in the red shirt. Whoa, hey,
easy. Take it easy there, buddy.
What?
It's like, what?
Is that against the rules now? Like,
no.
Is that
because the thing is,
and how dumb is that?
In order to identify diversity, don't you need to be able to identify people's races?
Well, and don't be sitting here acting like if it was a white person or anything, they would say white male. Came up.
Yes.
Emphasis, italics, bold, underline.
Remember who was it? Was it like George Zimmerman, a white Latino?
A white
Remember
Latino.
that? Like, we can't just say Latino. Remember that when they were saying things like white Latino?
I remember that.
Like, you're exactly right.
White. White has two syllables. White.
Yeah, the official police report to the public where they're looking for a dark complected suspect. Like. We're not even allowed to use descriptive terms anymore.
And that doesn't help catch the person, by the way. When you're vague, it doesn't help you catch the person. And it doesn't
stop racism either. It doesn't. No. You're not doing some great service to the unity of the country.
Well, I am glad that they at least identified this person as a woman.
That they did get in the description. They did say
at least that we can still live in that specificity.
You got to take the victories when you get them. That is Gabe Pfeiffer. Thanks, buddy. Thanks as always. Putting a little overtime in on a Friday afternoon.
Anytime.
Going to take another quick break here. When we get back, it's Friday afternoon, which means we're going to get the weekend forecast from our friends over at Channel 4. Meteorologist Kristen Cornett joins us next. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
They know she loves them, man. Work so they won't be needed.
So many ways to listen to to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey, Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store is the place to go if you are going to be working in the yard or the garden, working outside this weekend or in the coming days. Not the weather seems to be getting better and better. We'll know for sure in just a few minutes when we talk to Kristen Cornett over at Channel 4. But this weather has been definitely conducive to getting outside a little bit more if you're doing some work out there. Old Town Country Store in historic St. Peter's on 2nd Street. Right behind the QT at 70 and Mid Rivers Mall Drive, has you covered with a ton of great products and services. They have the products like grass seed and fertilizer and all the stuff you need to work in the yard. But they also have services like soil testing that will help you out in that area. If you care for animals, anything from farm livestock to the family dog and cat, they have you covered there. Other great services like the propane tank. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Get out there and check them out. 2nd Street in historic St. Peter's, right behind the QT at 70 Mid Rivers Mall Drive, or at oldtowncountrystore.com.
Now is your chance to come and hear your Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, at the iconic Turkish Pavilion in Tower Grove Park.
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McClain, Chair of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Come and participate in the $5 raffle for a 10-ounce pure silver bar valued at $240 at our annual picnic on Sunday, September 11th. Proceeds support our city police.
Hear from 9 local candidates as they share their vision for a better future, all while enjoying free barbecue and meeting other Republicans. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details. Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Friday afternoon, a little before 3 o'clock. And this is the time each and every week that we check in with our friends over at Channel 4 and get the weekend forecast. Meteorologist Kristen Cornett back with us this afternoon. Kristen, thanks for your time. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Great.
We're doing good. And
we've had a nice little stretch of weather.
Right? That's what
I
was just gonna say. We've been on a pretty great run here recently. Is it going to continue? That's the big question.
It's gonna get a little yuck for a minute, but
Okay.
then it'll get nice again, right? Can we just is that a meteorological
That's
term
okay.
I can use?
Yeah, we'll take a little yuck and then a little nice. That's fine.
Yeah. No, most of the extended forecast actually looks pretty good. So here's the deal. There's a few little stray showers and thunderstorms out there this evening, but they're all well south of the metro. So let's focus on the St. Louis area. Mostly clear skies tonight. We'll drop down to 69. Saturday, mostly sunny, 89 for the high. For some perspective, our average high is about 87. So we are running a little bit above that. It's pretty muggy out there. That's going to continue all weekend long. But if you're looking to get outside, maybe the pool's still open, whatever it is, Saturday's probably your better day. Sunday, we have a chance of some showers and thunderstorms. It's not a huge probability, only around 30%. We're talking mainly after 1 o'clock. Otherwise, it's just a mostly sunny, hot, and humid day. The hottest day in my 7-day forecast by far. Sunday up to about 92 degrees. But as far as our best chances of rain, those really come in Monday and Monday night when we have a cold front move through. And here's where the good news part comes in. Behind that cold front, most of next week is cooler, it's less humid, it's sunny, it's dry. Tuesday through Friday looks really nice.
Kristen, has this been unexpected or really unseasonably cool? I mean, it's certainly not been cold by any stretch, and there's been plenty of hot days, but in my brain, I always think of the like
Brutal,
August
awful
being
weather in August.
Yes,
yeah, just
absolutely.
brutal heat in August, and
It's been beautiful.
we haven't had that. Has this
We
been
got
a
the
weird
brutal-
year? Go ahead.
We got the brutal in July.
That's
Yeah, okay.
true.
That's what happened. We got the brutal in July, and we got payback in the opposite direction in August. It all has a way of kind of averaging out in the end, doesn't it? So July was way hotter and more, well, I'm not going to say humid, but just way hotter than normal. And August has been cooler than normal. So, yeah, I'll take it. Listen, cooler than normal in the summer, I'll take it. Cooler than normal in February, not so good.
Right,
But, yeah,
absolutely.
it's been pretty great.
I
And
know
we got
there's
more of that. I mean, I've got high temperatures next Thursday and Friday of only around 80 degrees. I mean, how great is that
my
gonna be?
gosh, that is incredible.
well,
Yeah.
I love it.
my daughter, one of my kids, like she's already declared it fall, so she'll love.
I
to
will
hear
have
that.
my fall decor out, Kristen, by
Oh.
next weekend. Don't you? I am having it out by next weekend.
Maggie beat you to it. She's
I
already
know,
got
it's
like
true.
pumpkin spice candles going and everything. I'm like, it's mid-August.
You
What
might
are you
wanna
doing?
Ask your daughter on Sunday if she still feels that way. But
Yeah.
fortunately, that heat and humidity will be somewhat brief.
So I know there's no way to, know for sure,
But you're still gonna ask.
but I'm still gonna
You
ask.
gotta know.
I'm still gonna ask. Did your gut feeling? Is there any? Are we past the like the big heat, or is there still a possibility that we get another round or couple days of like close, in the upper 90s, that really aggressive heat? Or
I feel like we always get at least a few days in September that are really awful. Yeah. And as lucky as we've gotten August, surely we can't get that lucky for the whole month of September, can we?
right.
So again, this is not mathematical or meteorologically speaking. This is Kristen's gut.
Sure.
I think, we're not done.
Yeah, that's how I mean, that's my head. My brain keeps telling me that too. Like it feels like this feels like it's too good to be true.
It does.
Like it feels like it's
does.
like been so nice and like, oh, I guess the summer's over. I guess that big heat's gone. And like then you look at the calendar and you're like, it's still August. Like I don't know that the big
we
heat
can
is
get
gone.
some pretty nasty hot days in September for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we'll
Hey,
take
fingers
it.
crossed I'm wrong. Fingers crossed I'm wrong, right?
And hey, and I'll take the weekend too. It sounds like it's gonna be okay. A little rain. You said Sunday is the day to keep a closer eye on the sky, correct?
Yeah, and it's not even that high probability. It's like 30%. I think the better chance of rain is really Monday night. But yeah, there's a chance on Sunday.
Gotcha. Great stuff. Really appreciate it as always, Kristen
Sure
Cornett,
thing.
meteorologist over at KMOV Channel 4. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
You guys too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Man,
I'll take that.
I'll take that. And if you're saying that we actually get a long stretch of fall weather, which is not typical, I mean, we run through fall in Missouri. It's done in a month. I mean, the fall, it gets cold like the first week of November. However, do you remember last Christmas Eve, it was 75 degrees outside? Last Christmas Eve, it was 75 degrees. I'll never forget that. But we never get like a long stint of fall. So if that starts a little bit early, like this week, I'm down.
And that's all I want.
Just long fall.
Why can't we get, we have summers, there's been plenty of times in my life where we've had, a month long or, weeks and weeks of like one type of like really hot weather or really cold weather. Why can't we just have one big long stretch of like high of 75?
Yeah. High of 75, low at night when it's crisp and cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Dreaming of it.
For me, I'm I like it a little cooler than most. Like for me, like perfect would be like upper 60s is the high and like low 50s is it overnight. Like
I can dig that.
Can we just do that for a while? Never seems to work out. All right. Got one more segment to go. When we get back, I have a crazy story about American Express being sued. I'm going to tell you that. And we will have a little bit of Friday fun time to help wrap up the week. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Stay top of mind with your customers, stand out from the competition, and drive productivity with a podcast for your business from Epic STL Podcasts. Log on to newstalkstl.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say, you think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Talking about all this great weather that we have been having, it is the perfect time to get outside and do some grilling. And if you are going to be doing that, make sure you are grilling with the best charcoal you can. And that, of course, is Rockwood Lump Charcoal. Jonathan Heslop was just in here on Wednesday with us. Go back and check out the podcast if you missed that great conversation with Jonathan Heslop, owner of Rockwood Charcoal. Charcoal is Missouri is the #1 producer of charcoal in the country. So you are supporting local industry, you're supporting a local business, and Rockwood Lump Charcoal has been ranked the #1 consumer ranked charcoal in the country multiple years running. So you're using the best product available as well. It doesn't get any better than that. Find the closest Rockwood Charcoal retailer, oh my goodness, to you at rockwoodcharcoal.com. That's rockwoodcharcoal.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Justice Department today releasing that redacted version of the affidavit that led a judge to approve a warrant to search former President Donald Trump's home earlier this month in Florida. Mr. Trump's reaction didn't take long today. He said, quote, affidavit heavily redacted, nothing mentioned on nuclear, and total public relations subterfuge by the FBI and the DOJ. In the meantime, a new poll suggesting most voters in America today see the Justice Department as politicized.
A majority of American voters believe the Federal Department of Justice's investigation of former President Donald Trump is politically motivated, but most of them still approve of the investigation. The latest Rasmussen Report's national telephone and online survey finds that 54% of likely U.S. voters approve of the investigation of Mr. Trump over alleged mishandling of presidential documents, including 44% who strongly approve, 41% disapprove, including 32% who strongly disapprove. The survey of 1,000 likely U.S. voters was conducted between August 23rd and 24th. The margin of error was plus or minus 2% with a 95% level of confidence. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Also at townhall.com, another new poll. This one finds most Americans still distrust the media when it comes to political news. Bob Agnew reports.
The latest Rasmussen Report survey on the media finds most voters still believe fake news is a serious problem. 62% say the problem is getting worse. Only 10% say it's getting better. 26% say it's about the same. 67% of Republicans said they take the news with a grain of salt. 55% of Democrats say they do trust news about President Biden, Washington, D.C., and Congress. Bob Agnew reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
The
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Hey, Chief, we got a damaged RV on its way to the OR.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of RV surgery.
Wait, are you promoting me?
Congrats, Martinez.
Doctor, that RV's flatlining.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of nursing.
So you're just promoting everyone now?
Yeah, kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Amazon shutting down its virtual healthcare service. Lisa Dwyer has more.
It's a surprising move that underscores the challenges Amazon faces as it moves into healthcare. Senior Vice President of Amazon Health Services Neil Lindsay said in an email sent to staff that Amazon Care will end by December 31st. Amazon Care launched in 2019 for Seattle-based Amazon's Washington state employees. That served as a testing ground for Amazon Care before the company rolled it out nationally last year to include workers in all 50 states. It was also offered to private employers nationwide. Amazon says it determined it wasn't the right long-term solution for customers. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Moderna is suing its main competitors, Pfizer and BioNTech, accusing the rivals of copying Moderna's technology in order to make their own vaccine during the pandemic. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com. Some promising news concerning a major pipeline. Here's John Scott with that story.
Federal regulators have given the developers of the Mountain Valley Pipeline another 4 years to complete the long-delayed natural gas project. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission made the unanimous decision to extend a new deadline for completion of the 303-mile pipeline spanning portions of Virginia and West Virginia to October 2026. Mountain Valley had asked for an extension in June. It has faced opposition from environmental groups and has had numerous permits tossed by the courts. John Scott reporting.
Jittery investors and a dismal day on Wall Street. Dow Industrials losing more than 1,000 points, closing at 32,283. S&P 500 down 141, closing at 40,57. More on these stories at townhall.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Sunshine and a muggy 88 degrees today for the high. We are looking at a very remote chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm, and it's going to be kind of humid today as well. Overnight lows near 70 tonight and highs near 90 over the weekend, with the humidity continuing to climb just a little bit each day. Looks like some scattered showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Friday Fun Time on Colombo and Katie. Brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control. 636-486-7888. Or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control. It's 9 more miles to Avon. I'll be home with you. 9 more miles to Avon. I won't stop till I get there. I'm on this lonely road from Nashville to St. Louis. I'm driving as fast as I can, 'cause I wanna get home to you. It's 9 more miles to Avon. Yeah, I'll be home with you.
Why don't we just listen to Perry for a little while?
I have started
Friday afternoon.
I think we should start doing Perry Woods Fridays. Like, that's the music we play on the
Sold.
Fridays. I've done it
Perry Woods
this week and
Fridays.
last week. Let's do that.
I love it. Go ahead and play more. No.
Take us out to the show. For the rest of the show.
Perry, you got till 3:30. Take it away. Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I am Tony Colombo. My partner is Katie Fitzpatrick. Got a couple more stories we want to do, but it's Friday, so we always like to have a little Friday fun time. So we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Want to remind you that we are back on YouTube. So you can now watch us again on YouTube. Watch our show. We always, live stream on our website and on our app. And we also have been, we've been live streaming on video on Facebook and Rumble and Twitter before. We are no longer going to be on Twitter because we're going to move back to YouTube. However, just like the podcasts of every show, every show will have their own, does have their own YouTube channel. So if you want to watch us on YouTube every single day, it's always fun, to watch on the cameras, get a little behind the scenes look at everything that's going on here. You can check us each individually out as shows. So search and subscribe to the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel, Tim Jones and Chris Harp's YouTube channel, Vic Porcelli, Mike Ferguson, and just another way that you can keep up with us, watch us, listen to us. We're back on YouTube.
Another avenue.
Until we get suspended.
Until we're not.
Again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So make sure you add that. I love it because I love waking up, particularly in the morning. It with a smart TV. We have a smart TV in the bedroom. I know I make hundreds of dollars.
You are fancy, sir.
To be able to just turn on the television and pull up Mike's show and just have it on the television as I'm getting the kids ready for school and getting ready to go to work. I love it.
Yeah, it is the most popular site to watch videos on, like hands down it is.
Absolutely.
And we will make it and we will be here until we are not. And that's what I keep saying.
And just like before, we're not going to change anything to keep YouTube happy, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it while
we're going to do it live.
We can. That's exactly right. All right. As I mentioned, a couple more stories to go here before we get into some Friday fun time. This story is wild. American Express has been sued for alleged discrimination against white employees. A former American Express employee filed a class action lawsuit this week, alleging that the credit card company exhibited callous indifference to civil rights law by terminating him because he is white and because he spoke out against its racially discriminatory policies. Brian Netzel, who worked a decade for Amex until he was terminated in 2020, says he sued the company on behalf of himself and potentially thousands of other similarly situated employees following an avalanche of bad things coming to white people in that company after George Floyd was killed. That's exactly verbatim what it says in the class action complaint. The lawsuit alleges that amid the racial tensions rolling in the U.S. in 2020, Amex implemented anti-racism policies throughout its corporate structure and gave preferential treatment to individuals for being black and clearly signaled to white employees that their race was an impediment.
Oh my gosh.
To getting ahead in the company.
Oh my gosh.
The suit says that policies fostered a workplace rife with a tremendous amount of animosity in which white employees were unfairly punished or passed over for promotions, while some black employees were promoted solely to meet company quotas.
Oh my gosh.
It also says that employees were encouraged to report any coworkers that spoke out against these policies. So rewarding
the rats.
Tattletales, exactly. The lawsuit claims that white employees were forced to undergo trainings in which they were told to treat black coworkers differently. That right there is racist. If you are treating somebody differently because of the color of their skin,
that is the definition of
racism.
Yes.
The training said, according to the lawsuit, white employees were forced to undergo trainings in which they were told to treat black coworkers differently, along with several other extreme mandates. For example, it claims a white person couldn't speak in a meeting until a person of color
Oh my
did.
gosh.
And that that one I have a real hard time believing. This one, however, it also claims that executives and managers received financial incentives to reduce the number of white people in their departments. Spokesperson for Amex described this lawsuit as false and without merit. Of course, they said that none of this is true. This is absolutely garbage. And I don't know. I've never worked at American Express. I don't know anybody that works at American Express. I don't know if any of this is true. But what's crazy is that we live in a world where we can read this story and we can say, that doesn't seem so far-fetched.
It just is a great example of two wrongs not making a right.
Exactly.
You cannot take away or erase the racism that Black and brown people went through historically for a very, very long time. There is no erasing that.
Right.
And nor am I, Katie Fitzpatrick, can be held accountable for the racism that happened before I was even thought of being born. So and this is what it seems like we're trying to do now. We're trying to play catch up by saying we're combating racism with more racism because now we have the opportunity in our hands to show white people what it felt like to be to discriminated against,
right,
to have prejudice against you. We have the opportunity to show white people what that feels like. And that's going to somehow make the Black and brown people in the community feel better.
And
it's not.
If you feel that way, if you feel that the right thing to do because Black people were discriminated against for such a long time, that what should happen now is that it should be reversed. And it's white people's turn to be discriminated.
Pay a price.
If you believe that, then just say you believe that. Don't say that you're doing this because you want equality. Don't do this because you say that you want to even the playing field. Because that's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing. Equality means equality. It means you don't discriminate against anybody. It doesn't mean you turn the tables. And you're exactly right. Look, nobody's arguing that there wasn't terrible racism in our history. But if you think that turning the tables is the appropriate reaction, then you can think that, but don't tell me that you're doing it in the interest of equality.
And what are we teaching the next generation? What are we teaching the next generation?
And if you do that, when does it ever balance out?
It will never, ever.
When does it ever become there is no discrimination?
And that is like,
if you just keep going, well, it's your turn now. You've been on top this too long. Time to flip it again. And
it totally defeats the purpose of the argument and the struggle and the fight for equality that has been put in our history books from Abraham Lincoln on until the 60s and 70s and 80s. It totally defeats the purpose of America as a country fighting within each other to make sure that equality reigned, to make sure that every single person had an opportunity, whether you be Black, white, brown, female, male. The entire American struggle to have all of that happen, it wasn't pretty. It was our history is very ugly, but we have the opportunity to show our younger generation, see how ugly this was. Do you see brother fighting against brother to make things right? Because that's how much we cared. If you eliminate that opportunity and say, well, to pay for all of that and to pay for all of those sins, now it's the white people's turn to bend the knee and for them to feel that pain, then we'll never, ever reach true equality. It will never even out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I got one more story before a little Friday fun time.
I do. Two Georgetown University students said Friday the university's mask mandate, this is the emphasis, mask mandate happening this fall in classrooms seems to be more about control than science.
Hello.
They say this. We were told that when we came back to campus, we were in a classroom with the professor. we had to have a mask on. Now, you don't have to wear a mask in the gym. You don't have to wear a mask in the cafeteria, not the library, not study spaces, not in the dorms, only in the classroom when you're with your professor. Georgetown, those were from the reply from the 2 Georgetown University students speaking out against the mask mandates. Georgetown University is requiring its students to continue wearing masks during in-class instruction this fall because of lingering COVID cases and now, as we knew what was going to happen, monkeypox. The mask mandate, which applies to students in classrooms and teaching laboratories, does not apply to informal gatherings, places like the library, study spaces, and things like that whenever you're getting together with your friends and saying, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. Students heading to their 3rd fall term since the pandemic are also required to mask up on university-sponsored public transportations and in university healthcare facilities. So even though we have the CDC coming out with new guidelines, even though the CDC has said we kind of botched our process moving forward with COVID-19, and we know the science of masks not
and their
completely
ineffectiveness.
working.
Yeah.
Parents and students alike are saying we have to head to our 3rd year or our 2nd year at Georgetown University with masks on whenever we enter our classrooms and have to sit there with the mask on.
Pure politics.
Crazy.
Pure politics. All right. Friday fun time?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Where's the strangest place you've ever had a date?
Strangest place I've ever had a date.
Have you ever like
no
had a
strange
date
dates.
in a weird place?
I have never had, they've been perfectly normal, no strange dates on my account.
So there is I don't know what I would do without trends, without viral trends.
Yeah, we couldn't survive.
I mean,
we couldn't live.
There's just always a bounty.
Oh yeah.
Of ridiculousness.
Stupidity.
There's a new trend going viral. And look, I saw endless videos on this. This is not like, oh, somebody did this and it's one thing. No, this is happening. And I want to ask you, is this cute and fun and cool, or are people just getting freaking stranger and stranger? The newest dating trend for youngsters is to rent a U-Haul and hang out in the back of it.
Why? That's so expensive.
Rent a U-Haul, open it up, and
take it to the park.
Put a table in there, chairs, hang out.
It's hot as hell in there.
Make it a little hangout area and have your date in it.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna say. Okay, read the rest of it. And I do have one thing.
I was just gonna say, if you're on TikTok, you can look at the videos. People are doing it and posting videos on TikTok. They're usually getting dinner and eat it in the back of the truck. They've done things like put, like I said, furniture in there, inflatable mattresses in there.
This is where I was gonna go with my commentary.
Now, people say that they do it. The reason they do it is because they say it's cheap. Is because you can rent U-Hauls, for like $20-25 a day. So you get it for
I get a day?
Yeah, you get it for,
I guess you do. Yeah, that's true.
You get it for $20-30 for one day, and you only want it for, and then you open it up, you put like a little table and chairs in there, and you have dinner in there, and it's your own little
So this is why I believe it would be popular. There was a time in life where there was no such thing as privacy because you lived with your parents. And I'm not
you're
talking
bringing
about,
down, you're closing the door.
I'm not talking about like, I'm just saying privacy in general. I'm saying privacy in general.
Right, okay.
There was none of that happening.
Pretend to say whatever you're.
And that is probably
we're all
from
hearing you.
18 till about 21, 22, before you get your own place, before you get like some roommates and you say, let's go in an apartment. There's nowhere really for you to go to hang out and socialize and you to have a convo alone. So if you are in between, I could see it being popular between those age groups.
Let me ask you this.
I could see that.
Let me ask you this. Forget about like that stage of the relationship where you may be like, man, we just never have anywhere private.
Yeah, where are we gonna go?
You meet David.
Uh-huh.
You think he's a handsome. You like the cut of his jib.
Go on.
And, you're like, I'd like to get to know this young man. And this young man shows interest in you. And he asks you out on your first date and you say yes. And he says, great. I've got something fun.
Real special.
Planned. Well, Saturday, I'll see you Saturday night. And you show up and he's got a U-Haul truck with like patio furniture in it and dinner sitting at the table.
I'm like,
are you like,
this dude's poor? That's what I'd say.
You're like, this is great. Or are you like, this guy's strange?
I think it would be,
because I'm saying this guy's strange.
I agree. I would say this is a rip. This is a ripoff, and I want to redo. I would be saying that for sure. I'd be like, you need to take me out on a better date than this, for sure. I'm just saying, devil's advocate. I guess I could see a 19-year-old. I don't even know if you're allowed to rent a U-Haul at 19. Being like, I have nowhere to go, and you have nowhere to go. Let's just rent this U-Haul and bring it to the park and hang out.
And eat dinner in there. That's the new thing. A couple minutes ago here, how about we do a little did you know to close out the week?
And now some interesting facts from the most interesting guy in the world.
That's me. These are all little tidbits of useless trivia that you can file away and impress people with your knowledge of the world. So, did you know? Did you know? On the average smartphone, at least one app is tracking your location at least every 3 minutes. I thought it would be more than that. I actually think that that's low.
But here's my thing. Can you have the capability of turning off your location in every app? But are you actually turning it off? I have my location turned off in every single app because I'm so paranoid about it, but they're tracking me regardless.
Absolutely. Did you know? This one was super interesting. In Greece, Portugal, Spain, and most Latin American countries, kids are taught that there are only 6 continents on Earth because North and South America are combined into one continent called the Americas.
That is so bizarre. That is so strange.
It never even occurred to me that kids would be taught in different parts of the world, like
that's
about oceans and continents being different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Greece,
so
Portugal,
strange.
Spain, and most Latin American countries, kids are taught there are only 6 continents on Earth because North and South America are combined in one continent called the Americas.
How bizarre.
One more. Did you know the U.S. military buys the most explosives in the country? Do you know who number 2 is?
Well, who was the first one? I'm sorry.
The U.S. military buys the most explosives in the country. What company or group buys the second most explosives in the United States?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I have no idea.
Walt Disney. Because of
For the
all
fireworks?
the fireworks
Oh
at
my
all of their parks.
gosh.
They are the number 1 or the number 2
That makes
purchaser
sense.
of explosives in the United States.
You know what? I'm happy to learn that. That makes me happy that it's for firework purposes and it's to make kids happy and parents happy.
Here's one more. Kangaroos can't fart.
Where does it go then?
Their bodies break down food and nothing is converted to methane, so they have
No
need
embarrassing moments
to
for
release
kangaroos.
gas.
Not a single embarrassing moment for a kangaroo. Let me tell you what.
And no better way to end the week than with a little stat about kangaroos not
farting.
being able to fart. All right, time to turn us over to Tim Jones and Chris Arps. I bet they're going to have a very different conversation than the one that we are having, and it's about to get a whole lot better. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I played a gig tonight and I sang a song about you. I imagined you.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
Governor Newsom declared a historic water emergency in California, but a slew of celebrity water wasters don't seem to care. Find out the worst offenders next.